Hi, this is Scott Jordan, and you are watching live here at Cellars of Sonoma in beautiful Railroad Square, Santa Rosa, California. And welcome to TV Tuesday Live. This is the show where we taste wine, we talk about wine, and I get to interview from time to time winemakers, chefs, people in the hospitality business, haunts. And tonight we are introducing the Deering family wines right here at Cellars of Sonoma, and I've got Todd and I've got Blair here from Deering Winery to entertain us, tell us some stories, and taste some wine. How are you guys doing?
We're wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
We're excited.
Yeah. Well, this is a chance for you guys tuned in to taste right along with us. We've got two bloggers, one in Iowa, Dan, and then Dazelle I've got in Virginia. Hopefully the truck came and dropped the wine off today. They were kind of delayed on him. But anyway, they're going to taste along with us, and then they're going to blog that out and send it out to their network. We want the show tonight to be really interactive. I've got owners, winemakers, property owners, farmers right here. You got all the right knowledge and all the right things to ask questions. We'll play a little stump the band here. We'll see if we can stump you on.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find lots of things to stump me on.
So, as you guys look at the Twitter feed, what we call Twitter feed, which is to the right of the video screen, that's where the posts will show when you use the hashtag TV Tuesday Live. So it's hashtag TV Tuesday Live. That's what you want to make sure that you do. Right below the Twitter feed is where you log in to put in your Twitter name so that we know who we're talking to, and we'd love to hear from you, but please use the hashtag TV Tuesday Live and give all kinds of questions. We've got Karina on camera, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on headphones. She will be fielding the questions, and we have my co-producer, director, Nita. She will also look for your questions, and we'll ask our guest here, our winemakers and owners, questions about the wine, and we'll go from there.
Right.
Before I pour the wine, whenever I have Brian Morrell, who's not here, he's out of town. He starts to yell at me because I don't pour the wine while I'm
soon
talking.
Enough. He's right.
One of us should pour the wine.
So, tell us the story of Deering. Where'd the name come? What's that all about? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm going to let Blair fill that in.
Okay, go ahead.
Deering is our family name, and it's a family. Our family has been in the agricultural business a long time, for hundreds of years. And we decided when we were trying to name the wine, one of the things that Todd loved most about the wine business and getting into it was the farming and the agriculture part and making a great grape. So to honor his passion for growing a great grape and our family history of being in agriculture for hundreds of years, we decided Deering was the perfect name. So.
Wow, that worked out really well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you have to get permission from them? Was there a trademark issue?
No. My family gave it the thumbs up, so they were okay.
All right. Thanks for endorsing that, because we like the name.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
They gave the name more of a thumbs up than they gave their Todd.
That voice off to the side, that's Hans.
Twitter's not working, Scott.
Yes, it is.
TV Tuesday Live.
They gave us
TV
the
Tuesday Live.
thumbs up. We'll give
Yeah.
you a finger.
Delay. There's like a little delay.
So this is Santa
So,
Barbara. I
so
have
those
some
of you
questions.
that are hearing a voice that sounds familiar, if you remember, once a year we do an event called Barbecue, and the I don't know, the founder or the crazy man involved in that is Hans. Oh, he's on camera now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
you're
There.
So you guys know what he there. If you look in the archives, you'll actually see a show that we did when we got in trouble with the city.
I didn't get in trouble.
We
You
were
got
smoking
in trouble.
cigars right out here, and we did the show out there. And
Are they gonna get mad
and he
if
had
we smoke
really
in here?
long. Yes.
You have no deniability.
Here, I got a cigar for Todd.
Ooh,
I got a
thank
cigar
you.
for me,
Oh.
and then I
Nothing.
got one for you.
That's a little, it's a little teeny tiny one.
Wait a minute.
What kind of a? Okay.
I like this guy
All
already.
right. I can deal with that though. I like the. You knew I
I'm sure
liked
you
it.
do.
Okay.
Okay,
So
we're
let's
cleaning
move
this
on to
up.
wine. Can we
Let's go
please
back to
talk
the
about
wine.
wine
Yeah,
now?
yeah. So let's first tell the folks what we're drinking. This is a 2010. 2012. I'm not looking at the bottle. That's why I was looking
Oh.
over here. Somebody kept
So
the
people
bottle.
are drinking it over there.
Oh, she's drinking
Yeah,
over there.
uh-huh.
It's 2012. Comes from Santa Barbara.
Yes.
So where in Santa Barbara are you getting the?
This is
And
from
why
a
Santa
vineyard-
Barbara?
Well, I think that there's 0.8 of an acre of Grenache Blanc planted in Sonoma County.
So good luck getting
so
that.
good luck
Good
getting
reason
that.
right there.
I'm actually in the process of planting some Grenache Blanc now.
Oh, nice.
Just started talking about it. It was a really interesting idea of trying to do something in between Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay that was different. So did some research, found some really great fruit. So this is from the Camp 4 Vineyard in Santa Barbara County, which was used to be the old Fess Parker property.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I think this was our first attempt at it, and I absolutely love it. I think that it's a really fun wine to make. It's a challenge getting the fruit up here at harvest, if you can believe. But I mean, we have to bring it up in air-conditioned trucks or drive it out all night. So
Wow.
it's one of the two that it gets picked at say 3
right,
in the
'cause
morning
you
and then
don't
they
want-
get on the road.
Because you
and-
don't want that stuff to heat up. It's going to start to ferment.
Yeah,
Right?
so we got to bring it up and make it quick, cool it down, and off to the races.
But this has the right balance if you want to have this with food. I mean, when you're tasting it, think of oysters, think of fish, think of
Spicy
wine
foods?
by the glass, and spicy foods. You could do Thai foods if you wanted to do with that.
Nice.
So it's a very versatile wine. So where Chardonnay, sometimes you get too much oak in that. This is nice. This is one of the nice. I'm not a big white wine drinker, but this is definitely my favorite.
So tell me the process that you're using in making this wine. Have we seen wood at all, or is it all stainless steel?
No, actually we're using neutral oak and we're using stainless steel.
Okay.
And we're essentially pressing it and barrel fermenting it, and then just a slight bit of age, and then putting it all in stainless steel. So we do get some micro oxygenation through the neutral barrels,
Okay.
and then really just working on it. It's actually at a certain point it's a very orange wine. So we have to kind of let the solids settle and fall out so that we get a beautiful colored wine.
Really? You mean?
But it really, I mean, like
Really? I
bright
think so,
orange.
Because you got to get the skins out of there.
And yeah, that you're trying to. It doesn't really have a lot of skin contact, but that trip from Southern California would
Pushes
do
it to
that.
the orange.
And that's kind of one of the issues that's always been with it. But
Well, you picked a great vintage year to start. I mean,
12?
12
Yes.
was not a bad year.
No.
I mean, you got really blessed with, that could have been.
and lucky and to get into that vineyard as well. It's a beautiful vineyard, and started out on a wait list. Maybe we'll send you some fruit. Maybe.
Wow.
And if you go to
And
some of the
then-
nice, if you go to some of the nice wine shops, you won't see it. You won't see Grenache Blanc anywhere. So it's unique when you see the Deering there, and people look at it, and it's the only Grenache Blanc that they're carrying.
Yeah, because I don't know of any, even in like the Caneros region or even toward Napa. I don't know if anybody's growing that.
I think you're
I
gonna.
don't
I
ever
think
haven't
we might
heard of it before,
see
just
starting to
Grenache
see a lot
over
more. I
there.
know there's a little bit planted up in the foothills, but it's
You ever heard of it?
still acres,
Grenache.
not any vast quantities.
Well, and Santa Barbara's probably a little better location anyway for the fruit. But for this
Yeah,
kind of
it just depends. I mean, you know, I think
we're growing
where,
it.
where we're growing it in the Sonoma Valley, so the majority of our wines are from the town called Glen Ellen, and that is in the middle part of the Sonoma Valley, which where I guess we're in a brand new appellation as well. We're in this new appellation called Moon Mountain.
Oh, that's right.
So
Now, is that
and
official
I-
now?
All of a
That's-
sudden,
It's
all of a sudden, I'm
official.
like, wait a minute,
Okay.
we're in that. Like, I got this the map of it, and I realized that, which will be interesting to see. I don't know what it's like being in a new
It's the
appellation, but I
Mayacamas,
think
yeah.
being in the Sonoma Valley is a fantastic place to grow wine.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just we have everything we can grow about anything.
Well, you have a beautiful story about what you guys have up there. We're going to get to,
Okay.
because it's unique in its location. It makes fantastic wines, and we couldn't be happier. We've been pouring your wine since the fourth, fifth. That's right. I mean, yeah, probably the sixth, maybe the sixth. I have the date written down. But the guests have really liked it.
Oh, good.
And we've been showing this, and this is part of our, when you guys come into the tasting room, it's part of our food and wine pairing, and it's part of our start to finish menu. And so when you guys come in, you'll get an opportunity to taste that, and paired up with food, it's really magnificent. But I think, to Hans, to your point, I can see that with some, Thai food or anything like that.
Yeah,
It'd
and
be
it's so
quite nice.
unique, and it's interesting when you talk to people in the restaurants, when they're sitting there and they're looking at the menu and they're not sure what Grenache Blanc is, and there's been many nights Todd and I have been at certain places, Todd buying glasses of wine for people, and they end up buying bottles of it.
Now, what's going to happen with your program now? Now you had a chance to get this fruit for 12. What have you got for 13?
I got it in 13 as well.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I've got a tremendous vineyard manager down there who
Okay.
really keeps a sharp eye, and
Nice.
and lab results and everything comes up, and it is what it is, and so
How many
we gotta
cases of
build
this?
I think we did almost 200, so
That's
very
almost
small.
200.
So I think somewhere 150.
Yeah, there's a lot of wineries in Sonoma County that spill more wine than they make.
Yeah.
That's how limited this wine is.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
About the same production for 13, you think?
Yeah,
Or,
It's,
okay.
it's about right. Again, like I didn't know what it was going to do. We
Yeah.
have no idea, how it was going to be.
It did it.
Accepted or not.
No, it did very good, and it's and my what's interesting is my Chardonnay. I know Chardonnay, buttery, oaky, buttery folks actually are digging it.
Oh,
so
good.
that's
Interesting.
really interesting.
Yeah.
That's very strange that they would make that, but it's clean, so they like that
Crisp.
clean. Yeah.
It goes good with Tongan food too.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Yes.
We could
You
tell
know the
that
Tonga story?
No, I don't, but we're gonna find
stop.
out.
You
You
have
did
to
not
ask.
do your research.
Well,
You're
we'll
more
find out.
safer, not Mike Wallace.
Oh, okay. Retail price on it is $27. If you're a Cellar Club member, you get that at $22.95. That's just a great bottle of wine. And you didn't mess around either. You put it in a really nice bottle too. I like packaging. I'm all about that. I think
thank
guys
you.
that are watching probably don't care, but Karina, are you losing your video or something? Why is your picture?
I don't know.
Okay.
Right here.
It's
All right.
downtown Washington.
All right.
Close up.
All right.
Yeah.
I get concerned when I don't see that on. So, yeah, I mean, nice package.
Thank
And
you so much.
No, I mean, it's.
I know, I like that. I mean, it's hard figuring out packaging after you're making wine. I think it's always an issue. Like, what bottle are we going to put this in? Do you put it in like a Sauvignon Blanc? Do you put it in? What do you
Yeah.
put it in?
Yeah.
It's a
What?
Grenache
Yeah.
Blanc.
No, I think that's
So-
that to me makes sense. And
Oh, good. Thank
but
you.
it's a hearty bottle, and didn't go cheap. It did nice.
Thank you.
Good quality. So now the next wine is 2010 Pinot Noir from Russian River.
Yes.
Very good.
Now, is this fruit that you're sourcing? Where are you getting the fruit on this one?
This one was
No.
again, as being a young winery and starting out with things, I was able in 2010 to get some different fruit from another friend of mine in the wine business, and we.
Rosa's seeing it.
These are two very well-known vineyards that these
Karina.
come from. This is both Rocchioli and Dutton. fruit.
Oh, okay.
So it's very good. I was
Not
really
a
fortunate
bad
to get
spot for
some.
Pretty popular names.
You know, it was. I think it was all
Oh, a
rock,
nice nose on that.
and had
it's got
very
nice-
small
nice-
quantities of
nice
each one, and they
mouthfeel
just
coming
tasted
through
so much
there.
better together. And
There's a lot of Russian River wineries out there that are now suffering from Pinot envy when they taste this.
Just a bit less.
Pinot Envy. I like that. I like that. So again, small production, about 169 cases.
yeah,
69.
11 months in 100% French oak,
Yep.
says here.
lots of French
That's
oak,
good,
lots of you know, it had to be done right. I
Mhm.
think if you're gonna go into the Pinot business, I
Yeah.
think that there's
Well, Pinot's a pretty finicky grape, and that's it's one you got to really work with.
one before that, like 2009. It was a very small vintage. I mean, I think the place I'm sourcing now, they got 7 tons, and
Wow.
they get usually about 39 tons. So Pinot can be all over the place as
Wow,
far
no
as
kidding.
quantity of fruit is produced for the year.
And in one little.
Wow.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Very fruit forward. Very nice. Very well balanced.
On a technical note here, I think your other laptop's losing its signal.
It did.
Okay,
Okay.
but this is not.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay. Russ is up, and he said great. And all right, so you guys
Okay.
let me know. We're just getting a
That's
weird.
good to know that
yeah.
Russ is there telling you got the picture.
Oh yeah, we got people, got eyes on it all over.
Okay.
You
You've
just
got,
blew up Twitter. Everyone's asking
I
about
know,
the picture.
I know. So retail price on it is $42.50 if you're a Cellar Club member. Really elegant, beautiful wine. Nice example of Russian River.
Thank
No
you. And it's
question.
100% Pinot Noir too. So
Amen.
nothing blended in. Just-
Now,
I would
as
put
a
that up
small,
against any top Pinot producer.
would you
in Sonoma.
in a blind tasting? We should do that one time. We'll do a blind tasting. You have a question? Go ahead, Karina. We're gonna go to Karina. Okay, go ahead.
The first one comes from Giselle, and he wants to know why you chose Grenache Blanc.
Wanted
to do something different, to do something that wasn't really available, but of knowing the area of where the fruit was coming from and knowing the quality of it, that it was kind of that was really what we wanted to do something new, really.
Very cool. And then the other question is coming from Dan, and he would like to know.
Why he's living in Iowa?
Why am I here when I could be living in Sonoma County?
Is it still snowing?
Poor Dan.
That's great. I love
He
it.
wants to
It's
know
true,
why
though.
for the Russian River Valley, why Russian River Valley for the Pinot versus Sonoma Coast.
Oh,
Good question.
good question.
I would love to also make wine from Sonoma Coast, Sonoma Mountain, Santa Barbara County. It's kind of just getting started, and that's kind of that's the hard part about being in the wine business and making wine is because something's always pulling you over to you want to do that. So you want to make a Pinot Noir. You have to make a good Pinot Noir. You have to make a great Pinot Noir, and then you can make one from another area. So it's really about time and.
But it's tough though because that's a really competitive market. I mean,
You still have to get
But
the
everybody
weather-
and their mother
the
is
appellations
making Pinot.
are not that different because you still have the cool mornings, the cool nights and the warm days. The weather difference for what happens with the terroir. I mean, the Sonoma Coast is great and Russian River Valley is great, but there's not a whole lot of Mother Nature that's different. So you're going to get the same type of grapes into your wines.
Well, it's interesting though. For the majority of our fruits are from the Sonoma Valley, and on one side of the valley, it is extremely hot. We can grow beautiful Cabernets and Zinfandels and Syrahs, and on the other side of the valley, the Sonoma Mountain side of the valley, you can grow cool climate Syrahs. You can grow Pinot Noir. You can grow some Chardonnay. You can grow a bunch of different things. So it's really funny just from having that coastal influence of where we are, of coming off of the Pacific into the Sonoma Valley, over the Sonoma Mountain, and then into the Miamis Mountains, and then into Napa Valley.
Beautiful. And speaking of that, Karina, why don't you go up and put that picture up of the vineyard? It's a vineyard shot. probably taken in the fall. I think it's a fall shot, and there's a, well, that other computer's having it's having an
It's
internet
probably
connection.
a harvest,
okay.
a pre-harvest or
Pre-harvest,
post-harvest.
yeah, yeah.
That, you know, you're yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys that are looking at this right now and seeing it live, that's a beautiful part of the world. So tell us where your vineyards are and what you're growing and producing up there.
Again, we are in the town of Glen Ellen,
Okay,
which is in the middle of the Sonoma Valley.
okay.
Um,
But that's on a hill
But
somewhere.
we're on the
oh yeah,
hillside.
we're on
Yeah.
we're in the hillside. We go way up into the mountains, and
Turn off your cell phones before the presentation. I say.
it's like a movie. You know, it's like a bad movie commercial.
So Moon Mountain, I know where Moon Mountain. Are you
We're about almost the same altitude as Moon Mountain.
okay?
So we have I would call it a lower vineyard, which is Zinfandel, and then it goes up to an area that we were growing some Grenache Blanc in, that we've
Okay.
just planted, and then I'm growing some Chenin Blanc,
Interesting.
which
What are you
is
gonna
funny,
do with
which is a
that?
replant. You know, all that whole area was planted in Chenin Blanc forever, and Gewürztraminer, and now, you know, I had.
And what are you thinking of doing with that?
Part of it I'm growing for someone else, and
Oh.
part of it I'm going to grow for us, just
Okay.
to see what it's like. Because you know, it's again, it's one of my favorite grapes. Makes beautiful wine. I
And you
think
just don't see a lot of it at
He
all.
likes unique.
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
So
but that works. I mean, people
Because-
really like that. They like that. There's something a little different, you know.
yeah,
There's lots of Sauvignon Blancs out there.
yeah,
lots
but there's
of-
so many great grapes.
Lot
I
of
mean, there's
Chardonnay.
posters of wine grapes, you know, set up like in the periodic table, and you can go through there and pick up the things that you want and would
Mhm.
like to try, and you just don't see them, you know. So I think that we're growing a patch there, and then you move up the hills, and then we're growing Cabernet Sauvignon in this extremely rocky, very it's just extremely rocky, and it's almost gravelly.
Okay.
Like rock pile.
It's
Yeah.
more so, and then we're growing Grenache up there, and then I have an upper vineyard, which is Petit Syrah, Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre.
And then Mourvedre going.
Oh,
And Tempranillo.
and where's
Tempranillo.
that?
Now Mourvedre, that's kind of a
No,
crop.
these were all planted in
These
the last few
recent-
years, so these are all
these are
vineyards
things
that are
coming
starting
up.
to come
Yeah.
online.
Ah,
So
cool.
Exciting.
we
Yeah, I
have
have no problem with that.
we have a 2012 Grenache blend. We have a.
I like Grenache, and we don't have any
Okay.
in this room. And I don't. Yeah. And
We'll have
and
some soon.
And the Tempranillo.
Yeah, that's another one.
Tempranillo, nobody grows. That's the Spain.
Yeah,
does it.
and
It's
that turned
great.
out fantastic. So I've been very, you know, the 2012 growing season.
Right
was
now,
very
most of the
nice.
Tempranillo's grown in foothills.
Yeah.
And
Now this-
even a
this-
little bit of Paso.
This, according to my notes, you got about 100 acres up there, and about 30 of it is planted.
Yes.
Yes.
And is that where your house is? Are you, or do you
Will
live
be
up
one
there?
of these
Someday.
days. I mean, I keep planting vineyards, but again, with vineyards, you
Right
gotta be
where,
careful.
right where you want to put the house.
You know,
Exactly,
you gotta be careful. You gotta be, our lower vineyards are all certified organic.
Oh, fantastic.
You got to be careful so that you can still have all the animals that can pass through.
Sure.
You have all the insects and snakes and all the craziness that naturally occurs, because that really helps the vineyard.
Yeah.
So when I put in a vineyard, I'll just fence that vineyard instead of fencing the property. So we have flow of, we have the
Oh, nice.
we have the land of gates, as I kind of
Land
call
of
it.
gates.
It's-
Perfect.
I've
And-
actually driven by your house right now, looking for your.
Oh.
Yeah, I had your business card
Ah.
from Taste of Sonoma.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
So,
great.
so we looked it up on the internet and drove by your house thinking we could get a taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Someday.
Our HOA does not allow
Here.
tasting. Yes, that's why we're at Cellars of Sonoma now.
So
Did
where,
the
so
security
where
guard
do you
stop you?
where do you do
Yeah,
the production?
You gotta.
Where are you?
I've
Barrels
used custom crush facilities that essentially that you can go in and do hands-on, work yourself. So essentially, you pay them to work on your own wine.
Yeah, right.
I think eventually, what we're looking at doing right now is trying to do it on our own property.
Why, Scott, are you looking for a job?
Yeah, well,
All right.
I have all
Got
this
another
free
70
time.
acres to
Yeah.
plant.
Yeah,
if
I
you
have all this free time, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can slide it right in. Sleeping is an option.
Yeah.
It's just optional. I don't have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, that certainly, I guess that's a double-edged sword in the sense that it's a big expense to buy equipment and have that
It is.
right. But in the long
Yeah.
run, there's got to be a big savings. Too.
Hopefully, you
Oh,
can find
yes.
also some neighbors so that you're actually benefiting the people around you as well.
Mhm.
Because I've when you travel out in the wine world and just is there. In California and the rest of the United States, we really are competing with the rest of the world in wine. Everybody makes wine.
Yeah.
So I
bet.
think the more we can help each other out, the better off our own businesses will be. So.
Sure. Well, that's exciting. You've got some neat projects in the works
Yes.
and some great varietals that we do not have that there's a big market for, and I think they would do really well.
But
So,
they can get them through you.
well, hell, I
That's
hope
right.
so.
That's right. That's why we're here.
Well, so far they really like the portfolio. This 2010 Pinot Noir gang is that's a beautiful wine, and we have about 15 Pinots in this room, but this really stands up on its own pretty damn good. So.
And this one actually won gold at the San Francisco
Yeah,
Chronicle.
so tell me, you guys have been getting really nice reviews. You've gotten golds, you've gotten best of class.
Yeah,
Yes.
golds, double golds, best
Double-
of class.
So double gold means that all
Everybody-
the judges
everybody.
gave it a gold, right?
yes,
Best of class, of course, that's the best.
So the Ideal got double gold. The 2010 Ideal got double gold at the San Francisco Chronicle. The Pinot got gold, and our Zinfandel got best of class.
And that's
That
and
Chronicle,
our, and, our, and, our,
Chronicle.
and our Cabernet Sauvignon was best of class at the Harvest Fair.
the Harvest Fair.
now. Do you, as a
Wow.
small producer, do you guys send your
Wilson
wines
Fair.
out to wine enthusiast or wine spectator or any of that kind of stuff?
We haven't been doing
Remember
a
you're on
lot of that.
camera.
I need to do more of
What you
that because
say.
I know. No. I like the competition. I mean, so if I didn't like that, I wouldn't put them in any of
Sure,
them.
sure.
So, I mean, I think that I have a very big competitive streak as far as putting all of our wines against anything.
Mhm.
That's fine with me. I haven't figured out how the magazines things works yet, and a lot of it is just time. Just
Well, I
sit
think
down.
that they would really like them. These are very approachable wines,
Very
which
approachable.
Right.
here in the tasting room, we deal with the end user.
Right.
So we're dealing with that consumer that ultimately is buying the wine, and the wines have to be approachable. They can't be something that, well, just imagine if you aged it for 20 more years. They're just
Right, no,
even though clearly you can age these wines, but they need to be approachable today. They need to be,
Absolutely.
and they show really well, and that's a big plus. And so you do really well with wine enthusiast and wine spectator if you've got wines that show well.
Yeah, we
And-
need to do
and,
that. We need to.
Well, but it's a double-edged sword. It's a real hot,
Well,
when I,
yeah. Well, I was gonna say people who have advised us on this have been like, you really have to know the judges well and know their style and what their. So is your Zen what they think is the ultimate Zen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And like you and I were talking before the
Yeah,
show, our
exactly.
Zen's a little surprising, right? It's
Yeah.
a little. It's not. Well,
It's not heavy-handed.
Yeah, so I feel like, and we were saying this before the show started. When people go to tastings, when we're at tastings, and people come up to us, we're like, "Hey, try our Zen." They're like, "I don't like Zen." I'm like, "Just try our Zen," and
Yeah.
they'll take our taste. They'll be walking, and they'll go, and they'll come back and go, "I didn't know I love Zen."
We're more
We're
of
like,
I would say
"Yes."
is a Pinot drinker Zen.
yeah.
People
Yeah.
typically who are big into the Pinots and that kind of thing that don't like Zinfandel will come in and be like, yeah, I really like that. I think that it comes down to balancing
Mhm.
wines.
Balance,
And
It
it'll
has to-
stain your teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure
Right.
it will. If you drink enough of it,
Well, if you go to
Yeah, if you drink as much as he does, you're going to
Yes,
stain
we've
it.
seen it stain your teeth.
He came in with stains on his teeth. We gotta love it. Well,
But
speaking of
you didn't even notice
Zinfandel,
this ring.
Let's- yeah.
She's got her own sipping cup on.
wow, that's
It's
nice.
the old sommelier cup, you know, the
Nice.
my
Okay.
not
day.
that.
I like that.
It's not the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yes, it's definitely not the 80s.
Yes.
She lost the straw.
God. All right. Well, now we're talking about Zinfandel. Let's go right into Zin. 2010. Tell us about 2010 as a year. Challenging, cool summer.
It was challenging. Again, I think as far as being a grape grower, the thing that you have to always keep in your mind is you can't get greedy as a grower.
Thank you.
You have to drop enough fruit on the ground so that the rest of it gets
Thank you
ripe.
even more.
You have to do all the best practices in farming so that you can bring your crop to harvest.
Now, this is all your fruit?
This is all 100% from our vineyard.
your
Is
vineyard.
this 100 Zin or is it you mix any Petite Syrah in here?
Which?
Is this all Zin?
Who? I don't know, Petite Syrah. Is that a friend of yours?
So,
There might be a few Petite Syrah plants planted intermingling, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
So it's a field
but yes.
blend. Okay.
so
Oh, nice
really
nose
nice,
on that.
nice
nose on
mouthfeel.
And
Nice
again, it's
bouquet.
balance. It's
It is.
it's really trying to do that.
All right, so your notes here say that
That's a
you
hell
do,
of a Zin.
Oh, thank you.
clearly can do a grilled tri-tip, roasted pork, tenderloin.
But this is
You
dynamite.
could do that.
Yeah.
We do it at home with ribs a lot.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
All
ribs.
of that with
pasta.
ribs,
Ribs.
hamburgers, pizza.
That's perfect.
It's a good Zen for food.
And you know what? I think and you know you can just drink it by itself too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
so
that's what I mean
big.
for
and-
approachable. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what we're trying to see.
Oh,
drink it
cheese.
while
It
you're-
is great cheese.
You can drink it while you're making dinner.
Todd's almost as nuts about cheese as he is wine.
You can do it. Almost drink it while you're making dinner.
A bottle's perfect. 2 glasses while you're making dinner, 2 glasses while you're eating dinner. Then you open up
and
another
you-
bottle.
And you're speaking from experience.
Yeah, I am
that's,
absolutely speaking from experience.
That's yummy.
It's really good.
Retail 42, 35.70 if you're a Cellar Club member, and that's a wonderful example of what that area brings. I mean, it really is. You're very, very lucky. You guys are lucky when you guys get this wine. You're not going to believe it. I mean, that is a beautiful. Now, this is not in my book an overly jammy
No.
Zin like you might
No.
see in
No.
Alexander
So it's a
Valley
different
or,
style than that.
Yes,
maybe in Dry Creek.
And if you live in Iowa, it goes great with corn on the cob.
Well, Dan, what do you think
Right,
of that?
Dan?
I mean,
Mango salsa.
There
Yeah.
you go, mango salsa.
oh,
Pineapple avocado cream dressing.
that's
Oh,
just
yummy.
Wow.
What time's it?
now when you're aging this.
We're
in-
aging it actually quite a bit longer. We're using it about
18 months?
16, 18 months is typical.
Okay.
About 33% new, mainly French oak.
Okay.
Neutral barrels. Again, balance is the big key, I think, in a lot of these wines is you don't want to over oak them. I grow fruit. I want to show the fruit off.
Right.
So, you know, if you have a bad year, maybe a little bit more oak. It just depends on the wine and the vintage. But typically, that's about our profile.
Beautiful balance and nice
And a
long
little more
finish.
production of this than the others.
Yes.
A little
There
more.
How many
is-
cases?
This comes from our own vineyard.
Yeah,
This,
yeah.
this is the first wine with Zinfandel. Was the first variety of wine we made. So
Wow.
kind of. I mean, it's hard to say if you have a favorite child, right? But if we-
And I've always loved
We
Zinfandel.
just
I mean,
love our
Zinfandel,
Yeah.
I
Not if
think
you only
is-
have one
I love
child.
That's
Zinfandel.
and it grows, and that's what the funny thing is that there's competition of where it grows. It grows the best in Dry Creek if you talk to
Well,
somebody
so
in
they
Dry Creek
say,
or
yeah.
Sonoma Valley,
Yeah.
or in Mendocino, or
Mendocino
in
makes a
the
good
foothills. You know what? I've had absolutely fantastic examples of every single one of them.
But you know, there's some areas in California that I'm not a big fan, and other people are. And the foothills is one that I am not a huge Zin fan. For some
How about
reason, that
Paso
doesn't
Robles?
work for me. No, Paso Robles is fine. That's on the other,
the
you know,
foothills
the other
now,
direction.
okay.
Foothills doesn't do it for me for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a snob, and okay, so I can be
But
that.
they make great Tempranillo.
But yeah,
Well, they probably.
Yeah,
You know.
or Barbera, or you
Yeah.
know, and that's
Yeah.
what I love about living in California is just, or even Sonoma County for that matter, is just where you can drive to and you can find a completely different example. I mean, if you came out to our vineyards, you would see 5 soil types, and that from extremely rocky to red clay loam to almost a black basalt to an ash, almost a white ash. And
Some of that
and-
soil comes from the animals that are going through.
Well, usually it's
I
from
see.
smoking cigars.
smoking cigars.
So in the winemaking process,
Yes.
are you bringing in consultants? Are you doing all of it yourself?
No, I work
how-
with so many amazing people. I mean, I really do. And the first guy I start with always is the guy who walks out and ties that vine up every year and prunes that vine and makes sure that the crop load
The
is
worker.
right. There is a guy who's standing out in the sun getting that done, and they have a choice of doing a good job or a bad job, and the guys that I have working for me are fantastic, and that's, I think, is from being a farmer and making wine, and then all the way up through, and just the people that I've had that have really helped me along the way. I mean, really, it's a team sport for the most part. There's a lot of really helpful people that have
Oh
been
yeah,
in this
yeah,
industry.
and they like to
So,
share their knowledge.
They really
too.
do, and it's different from a lot of other things that people are. There's some of those people out there, but
And
for
you
the
know,
most part, they're
what's
not.
interesting about this Zen that I've noticed when Todd's tasted the Psalms on it, at restaurants,
Uh-huh.
is they have a lot to say about it. Where I've seen them taste other Zens where they'll drink it and they'll go, oh, okay, that's a Zen. And it's just like every other Zen, where this is so unique that the Psalms are almost
Mhm.
caught off guard because they don't know what to think.
Well, you almost do a double take on it, which is interesting. And
Got a long finish.
when Angie and I did the panel tasting, for those of you that know, when we bring a winery in, we do a panel tasting. We taste through the entire portfolio. And one of the criteria that we use is we have to like everything that they produce. And the reason for that is we want consistency across the board. Our wine club members rely on me to get it correct. If you get a winery that makes 2 or 3 really great wines and the other 4
Mediocre.
are just kind of
Yeah.
funky, what's going to happen? You're going to infect those other ones eventually. And
Yeah.
you'll start making the same mistakes that you made on the other ones. And when Angie and I went through this portfolio, we were getting consistent all the way through. But I did a double take on the Zin. And I go, whoa, wait, go back to that. And we went back to it, which was interesting because I was expecting one thing in the nose and got it a different thing in the finish, and it was really pretty. It was a nice thing that was happening, and you don't always get that. You get kind of the same
Black-
thing.
Usually
It's-
you get hit with that black pepper and that vegetal.
Yeah.
and just
yeah, it was
well.
just it was warm and inviting, and you just
Yeah.
went nice. The consistency is clearly there. But then she went back to the Pinot 'cause
Oh.
she kept leaning hard on
loves
that.
the
She
Pinot
went
Noir.
off on the Pinot, and I go, yes, I dig the Pinot too. I'm with you. She goes, no. But anyway, but it was a double take is what we
Thank
did on
you,
the
Scott.
Zin. And we do the panel tasting without the owners and
No, we were not
winemakers
there.
because we want to say exactly what we think
Right.
without any interruptions. We don't have to play favorites. We just let it all out, and it's, and we do this. I'm giving away secrets. If you're going to start your own collective tasting room, write this part down, okay?
Yeah.
I use a 3-point system to judge because when I'm
Sorry, I had
Because-
to change it a little bit.
Because
Because-
you can't count higher than
Yeah,
3.
that's exactly right.
Besides
And so if you get a 2, that's some pretty good. If you
Yeah.
get, and then I do stuff in between. I go with 2 plus.
Okay.
So now a 3 is hard to. I mean, if you get a 3, I don't want to give somebody a 3 because it feels. I know it's weird. It's like,
Well, it's like unattainable.
well, it's
Perfection.
like, but we do that. I do that all the time, and every single one of these got the 2+, and I won't tell you which one got a 3, but I keep notes on this stuff. But
Angie's the boss. She likes it.
Wait.
Probably
Pinot, no one else. Pinot got a 3.
Fucking 3 on the
Because you guys came, remember when,
I didn't get
Not
that
yet
Zin out of
company.
it.
when you guys first met, you guys came over to the house
Yeah.
and we sat down and talked about the wines, and Angie's just kind of looking around. Going,
Wait, what did the Russian judge
Is there
say?
any- the Russian Angie's just looking around like, okay, we're going to talk about this. There's no Pinot open? We'll open some Pinot before we talk, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I love it.
No, she yeah.
She loves
so
the Pinot.
the scores were very, very good.
Good.
And that's why you're here. That's one of the criteria, just so that those of you who are trying to duplicate, make your own tasting room, this is how you do it. The other part of, though, this is so you guys really know this, and this is true with all 9 of the vintners here, we have to like the vintners. That's all part of it, because we're kind of married for at least a year or more. So we have to get, and
Right.
because there's a lot of
Did you guys sign a prenup?
Yeah.
we did. there's a lot of wineries that are not here.
Wait, were we in Las Vegas?
They're not here. Yeah, we were.
I
that
don't
are
remember
not
getting
here.
married, but okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
They're not here because that other component didn't exist, and that's a testament to what you guys bring to the table, and your energy and your entire process that you've put that and
It has
that
nothing to do
speaks.
with that you're just a pain in the butt to deal with.
Well, that's the other part.
Let's have some more wine,
Oh well,
please.
let's have some more
Yes.
wine. Here we go. Back to
Foreplay.
yeah.
Too much
it's
foreplay.
Too much foreplay. Okay.
Funny, none of the employees defended you on that one.
Yeah. So now this is your red blend, which if we needed anything in this room, boy, was it a red blend.
Okay.
We can't get enough. And there's certain things that I'm a real big fan of. I'm a big fan of Rockpile. I'm a big fan of Howell Mountain, and I'm also a big fan of red blends. I dig
Okay.
red blends, and
See, I
And
think there should
you
be
can
a
get-
Howell Mountain, Mr. Howell.
yeah, there you go. Now,
It's over there.
and you can get it as obscure as you want in blending, and it doesn't bother me in the least. It can be big and bold and all that. Doesn't bother me. And the customers like blended wines. So just so you know.
Well, I mean, blended wines is somewhat. It's a double-edged sword. It can be either. It can be what's left over from your vintage, or it can be a thoughtful process of making a wine that you really enjoy and love.
Mhm.
This is the latter. This is the wine we wanted to make instead of. What happens is you end up with some wine left over from the end of the vintage. You blend it together. You try to add something to it. It doesn't taste right. You add something more to it, and then it doesn't. So you're chasing something
interesting.
to make
Yeah.
something mediocre.
Right.
That's not a good idea. and
No.
It's
No.
very
No.
expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're gonna make a blend, set out and
sure what I'm getting.
make a
Blackberry,
blend that you
maybe?
want to make and
Sure.
of the fruit that you want. An ideal came from the idea of making a wine that was the best of the vintage.
Mhm.
Of some of the best fruit that you've found, and then singling that out and
That's beautiful.
co-fermenting it
Boy,
and,
that's big.
and blending it together. That's
Isn't it
that's
wonderful?
the idea of our ideal wine.
So you did.
It's a merited
yeah,
style.
according to the notes here, it's 30% Cab, 38% Syrah, 30% Petit Syrah, which I like Syrah and Petit Syrah together. I like
You
that
like
very
petite
well.
around anything.
I do. And 2% Zinfandel.
And it can always vary.
So
That's
it's
why
not a
I don't put it on
Meritage,
the
it's no
label
Meritage,
because
it's just your own blend.
from vintage to
Because
vintage,
Zinfandel's no
there may be
Meritage,
minus
right?
some.
So are there other vintages of this? I mean,
Nice.
how many times have you made this?
I started making that in 2008,
Oh,
Good,
okay.
man.
Okay.
and
Right.
so
Does that just rock their house?
yeah,
I mean, just
so it
I-
can really, really change. It can be something else. So you never, it has to stay consistent though. That's the key is
So
that I'm not going to put something in a bottle that I'm
Got
not
a
proud of.
candied
So,
finish on that sucker, man.
are you during the aging process?
Oh, this is.
Then
fine.
are you
That's a lot.
pulling little samples of each, trying to come up with the formula to blend it out when you finally get And,
Yeah.
and does that change as it goes?
It does, because you pick out, you go
I asked a
through.
question that I know the answer to.
Because,
Those of you-
because it's so very rare.
Just what he
Show
does.
people that you actually do an answer.
I know an answer.
I said it.
Everybody.
I said it, and I went, "Oh, that's kind of silly. Of course you do." But for those of you that don't know, I mean, I'm trying to let those of you that don't know the entire process. It's very interesting that it's progressive. In other words, it starts out one way and ends up another way.
Oh, absolutely. You never think you
it
know
goes down
how
this
it's-
road and then it finally ends up with that.
Because a single barrel by itself can be an outstanding wine.
Right.
But when you blend it with a whole bunch of other barrels, that may end up the odd man out. So you never know what the actual blend is going to end up, because you're starting with assumptions, and you can't stick to them. You can't be like, this is the best barrel and this is the foundation, because it may end up not fitting into the blend, and you get that sense from it, from kind of walking by and tasting each barrel, smelling each barrel, then doing it again and again and again, and you know,
And the juice keeps,
going on
and
forever.
the juice keeps changing.
Oh,
Yeah.
everything
So
keeps
it's,
changing, and
you
then
know.
you'll rack it, which means you'll take all that juice, you'll put it in a tank, it all blends together, put it back in the barrel, it's cleaned up, some of the sediment is out of it and that kind of a thing, and then you
The process is really no different than the great chateaus that make their great Bordeaux blends, you know, and it's never the same percentage of different caps when they do their Meritage style wines.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when you do the cap blend, you usually call it a Meritage, and they have the Meritage Society. I don't know if there's a Zin blend society.
No.
We could
Or
start one
Syrah,
up.
Petite
There's,
Syrah.
there's
Let's start
Zin-
one.
There's a Zin society. It's called ZAP.
Zap,
No,
yeah.
but no,
We
I'm
go
wondering
Zap.
if
You have
they
to be a certain
just
percentage.
certain-
Yeah, you
if
have
they
to-
have, like,
But that's
Well,
pure
this
Zin.
is-
That's,
Right, this is
Fort
more of a
Mason's
Petite
annual.
Syrah cab.
Millions.
Yeah.
Maybe like
right,
the,
so you
Drink
you
there.
could actually do your own Bordeaux blend
a
society.
support group.
Yeah, support group.
I make
Because
a
AA,
blend.
we
Now I
pitched
noticed-
this to AA and they can.
No, it didn't go so well.
Now you're not growing any Cabernet Franc or Malbec.
I actually have
or-
another little spot that I'm planning for that, but since it hasn't been, it needs to be replanted, and so it's in. I'm ignoring it right this minute.
I see. It's the future.
Yes, it's bothering me, so I'm not talking about it. So, because I haven't figured it out. So whenever I look at it, I walk by it in the morning, and I'm like,
Well, I'm a really big. I love Malbec. I love Cabernet Franc, and I like them
I
as a
do too.
varietal.
Right.
I like them. Now they're and certainly they can be blenders. They always are, but I do like them as varietals. Now I have some winemakers that would argue with me, and we've had that discussion before. Those of you that've seen the show before, I really love Cabernet. When I get a good
like
Cab Franc, I'm
I'm with
rocking
you
and rolling.
100%. I think that is one thing I've always been even afraid to grow, because I just want to do it the right way. Because
Yeah. Well, it's
there
gotta
are
be
more
really
bad-
good, or you-
There are more bad examples than there are good examples.
Oh yeah,
I think
no
with Cab
question,
Franc.
no question.
And that's
What do you think?
Well,
What are you getting, Nita?
well, plum, of course.
All right, speak up because they want to hear you.
There's almost a floral taste.
you get the floral, you get the violets, and then you get kind of some of the spices. So then you might run into, I think there's a lot of almost like Indian spice. That's typically a coriander or cumin, things like that are different. I always have, from tasting wine with different people in different countries. It's funny because when you talk about your perceptions of taste and in wine, you'll say something like, Thanksgiving spices. You're thinking of cinnamon but in other countries they're thinking of curry. And you're like, oh, well, that's maybe a good thing or a bad thing. So a lot of times I'll ask people what they think the wine has in it. So I always like that more than what I can tell you what's in it is your perception. Because whatever you've tasted in your life and what your experience are is what's really going to drive what those flavors and essences are.
Scott, read what the alcohol is on that.
Yeah, the alcohol on this is 18.4. So look how
It
big.
is
Hey, no,
big.
wait, that's 21.8.
That was the zin. It was
Now
21.6.
the TTP's coming back saying we
Yeah.
didn't charge enough tax.
Yeah.
I paid my taxes, I
Yeah.
promise.
Well, he crossed over 14. He paid all the tax.
Probably
he needed
14.
to pay.
I would
That's
guess
what I'm saying.
14.7.
14.6.
Okay, does it taste 14.6?
Oh, no, no.
See, that's the other thing that's amazing about these wines, that because they're a little bit on the higher end of the alcohol content, you would never know because they're not hot at all.
Okay, so
Not at all.
that's an argument that comes up every single
We
year.
talked
No,
about
it's
I
that.
hear it
Yeah.
over and over and over on the alcohol issue, and the growers, they keep saying, "I want ripe fruit. I don't want green fruit. I want it ripe." And so, what's your feeling?
My
on
feeling on that is like our Zinfandel, we pick at 23 bricks, 23 and a half bricks, so it's fairly light.
Fairly light.
I grow fruit for other people as well. I grow fruit for people in Napa, and they all have to be very high. It
They want
just
a higher
depends.
Yes.
Depends on where you're growing fruit. I mean, we can actually get a lot of our fruit riper than they can in a lot of, say in France, there's certain areas and certain vintages that just won't get ripe. That's true here too, but it's really the area, like with a Syrah. I can get Syrah as ripe as you want, but in Bennett Valley, right across the valley from me, there's years that, a couple of years in a row that they didn't have harvest because they couldn't get it ripe enough. But you can make some beautiful cold climate Syrahs. So it just really, I think, depends on where your vineyard is.
Yeah, well,
And you have to work
Syrah's
best
that-
with what you have, yeah.
And Syrah's that versatile grape that can go either way in a hotter
Sure,
climate
sure.
or
Yeah.
cooler.
But like with our
Yeah.
Zinfandel, usually, what I'm waiting for in that is always the acid to come down.
Coming up this weekend, so guys know, Karina, tell everybody who we've got. We've got Thursday night live music with Ricky Allen Ray.
Friday you got John.
John Pita.
Again?
I got him.
Nice.
I got him again. He got him in.
Who?
And then I have
Oh.
Greg Youter on Saturday,
Who?
and he rocks the house.
Yeah,
man.
really?
Yeah. Stop already. You know. Anyway, so lots of entertainment. Also, if you throw up the other food menu, when you guys come into the tasting room,
That's not the
and
right
you
word.
get hungry,
If you
Throw up
throw
your
up,
food menu?
thank you. He did not choose the right. He
Did
didn't
you really
mean
say that?
Yeah, I
Throw
did.
up
Throw
your
up that
food menu?
menu.
His food menu is
I'll
brilliant.
have seconds, please. I threw up my first course.
Yeah.
Karina, when did I lose control? Tell me when I
He
lost.
hasn't lost
When
it.
I
The
showed
boat,
up.
the boat is listing really bad. So you can see from the menu. Yeah, thank you. I need some cat.
You throw up the food menu.
When you guys get hungry, you don't have to go anywhere anymore. We've got nice paninis. They're excellent.
They are good,
We've got 3 selections for you. We've got some desserts that are really good. So sit back and enjoy that. If you're a Giants fan, we really like you a lot. If you're a Dodger fan, you're allowed
really
to come
hate
in.
you a
We're not
lot,
going
then
to
we
do
hate
anything
you,
for you, but you can come in and hang out and do whatever. But we have the games on, so tis the season for that.
jolly.
And if anybody's a Warrior fan, they're playing too. And the Sharks. This is a great time. So if
This
you
is not a sports show.
no, I know. I know.
Wait,
the
But
cab,
if
right?
you really want to come in and you're torn between going to some sports bar.
Oh, you got sports.
I
here.
can do it
I've
all
seen
here.
that. Yeah, there's baseball downstairs.
Yeah, I can have it upstairs too. So you can be in the library lounge. You can have a glass of wine. You can have a panini. You can have some dessert. You can watch your favorite sport
And drink during wine.
and
drink
And when
during
Scott
wine.
doesn't do what Angie says, there's some great boxing.
Oh, the cab. All right, now we got to talk about the cab.
All right. This is your Cabernet Sauvignon 2009. Now, not a bad vintage year. Pretty damn good vintage year. I got to say that. Pretty good vintage.
A little.
So the Nelligan Road Vineyard. What's the-
Actually, this is an
That's not it.
it's Montecito, which is at the top. Which this is from. Did you know Mike Lee? He was one of the founders of Kenwood Winery. This is from his
No, I
vineyard.
don't.
His wife and daughters now run the vineyard. This is from an old dry farm vineyard. At the very, very top, it's as close to Napa as you can get in Sonoma Valley. It's
So is it up there by Monte Rosso vineyard? Or is it too?
no. Well, this is in Glen Ellen.
Oh, okay.
So it's all the way at the top. The 2008 I actually blended
Right by
with
Napa there.
This is the harvest
the vineyard next door, which are both dry farm vineyards. So there's no irrigation. There's no. These are vineyards that were planted
Survive
in the
on what you
70s.
get.
Exactly. So it's a small window of picking because the sugar will go way too high or it's too
What's
low.
the bricks on this?
When we
Wow.
picked it, I think 23.5, 24.
And I just
See what
have
the
to tell
notes say.
something about Todd too, because he has a lot of integrity in winemaking, and he will only make wine that's great. And so, no, I'm serious. I can brag for him, but we didn't even make a. Which year did we skip the vintage?
We didn't do a 10.
We didn't do a 2010 cab because he said the grapes aren't good enough. I'm not going to do it. We're going to skip this year.
And that's a hard thing to
It's
do.
a
Well, 10
very
was a rough
hard.
year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
But that's a hard thing to do.
As a,
I mean,
and when you're in the wine business, that is not an easy decision to skip a vintage. But we are not going to put anything out that it's got our name on it, right?
It's
so
got
we're
a
not gonna put,
family
if it's
name
not
on it.
if it's
Yeah,
not
it
good
sure
enough,
does.
Sure does.
it doesn't fit.
So they
with,
put somebody else's name on
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
It's under Hans Dipple.
Dipple
You're a
wine.
neat I bought. No.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Nita. You got a question? Fire away.
And this says less background noise. But
Oh, yeah.
question
Well,
is, what's not in your portfolio that you would like to see in your portfolio?
Oh, that's a good one.
It is a good
Do
question.
you have
What's
2
in our
hours?
portfolio that's
What aren't you making that you'd like to make?
I would like to make more of the same, I think, from some different vineyards. I think that there's some. I've always been hesitant on white wines because I've always drank more red wines,
Yeah.
and that's why it's like when I do a white, it's always kind of you go out and you try really super hard. I guess so. I think I probably want to focus on more white wines. Is there
Chard?
something unite? Yeah. So do
Wait, you're not
some
making me
different
Mourvedre?
chard.
I'm
I
glad,
would no.
I'm glad
Again,
you didn't say
all,
champagne.
all separate wines. I'd love to do a Cab Franc by itself. I'd like to do a
Oh, you'd like
Malbec
that.
by itself.
Oh,
yeah, I'd
I'd
be all
love to
over
do. I mean, there again, the list goes
Mourvedre?
on Mourvedre.
I love that grape.
it might even get a 3 on Scott's
Charbono.
rating scale.
I mean, then there's name the country of different grape varietals that are outstanding that would be fun to make.
Like
that grow
Argentine
well.
Malbec. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we
I
moving?
think sure.
That's right. I
think
love
that's really
Malbec.
cool.
So-
I always
so-
I get the Argentine
Yeah.
Malbec.
Hear
I
about
love
what
that.
you want to
Yeah, I'm always amazed and surprised, especially leaving California, that when we have all this fantastic wine and everything, you get tunnel vision of what you're focusing on. And I love going out. I love going to like New York City, going to Hong Kong, someplace like that, and drinking wine with other people and not being directly in it. And you remember why you appreciate wine so much, and how
Yeah.
much you love wine.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what.
Scott, you didn't
So-
ask them how they got their start. Where their first wine was bottled.
really?
You didn't ask them that.
Oh, should he ask?
Should I
Should
have?
we tell him the
You
story?
should ask them the story of Tonga.
Well, see, you brought that up earlier, and it was.
That's creepy.
Should I tell that story?
You can tell the story. I'll
So-
tell whatever.
So our Zinfandel, the first vintage we ever made,
First.
the very first, turned out to be the official wine for the coronation of the King of Tonga.
Wow.
And so we made special etched bottles. One of them
What
is
year?
Still,
Oh yeah, I saw that on your website.
one of them is still in the
I didn't know what
palace
it
in
meant.
Tonga. Each of the royal families got a bottle, a bag
Oh,
they would
how-
take home.
And how was it selected? What was the criteria? What were they?
Was all things royal. It was connections, yeah. So
Love that.
relationships and connections. So and then the King of Tonga. Am I allowed to say this on camera? He loved wine. He's no longer alive. He actually died. But he
Oh, and then
loved.
so now you can say whatever you want.
Cirrhosis.
But he drank
He drank himself to death.
He drank a lot of wine, and
Well, he was
but
a big man. He had a big appetite.
Yes, and yes, here's the King of Tonga, King George Tupelo the Fifth, and yeah, so that was our start in the business.
So we had to actually figure out how to, and being in the wine business, how to ship wine to the country of Tonga.
Well, first you had to find it.
Well,
Yeah.
first you had to find it, and then you
Like,
had
where's
to find,
Tonga? I have
and then
no
you had
idea.
to think about 4.5 hours from New Zealand,
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
and then figure out who's going to ship it and who would actually do that kind of a thing for you. So
We really asked
Wow.
if the phones be turned off.
Holy smokes.
I
Only
think
mine.
that's
So that's one of our quirky.
Then when they
Wow.
went out there, they found the cast of Lost
That's
because
really
they
cool.
actually that's where they're playing from.
it's true.
So that's
story,
why the
too.
show ended, because they found him.
Oh.
Yeah, Hans, let's not get into the black helicopter stuff.
Sure.
You know.
Well, maybe that's what that other plane is.
WWW.
Maybe it's there.
Yeah,
Wow, that's quite a story. What a great start, though.
yeah. So that's how we started in the wine
Wow.
business.
Wow.
And
And
then
Do you have any of
Ask
that?
them
Do
where
you have any of that wine left? Did you keep any
we
of that?
did, yes.
Did you?
We-
Okay.
we
Yeah, we
did.
have,
And we bottled some magnums of it, so we have
Oh,
some magnums.
oh, you have
of it.
magnums.
yeah.
That's what we did. We gave each one of those to each one of the members
Oh,
of
how
the royal
cool.
families that came. Because
That's
all
pretty
the
cool.
royal people, who else you invite to your party, but
Yeah.
other royal people.
So Scott, ask them where the first market was that they sold wine into.
I would love to know.
Okay, so
You know what? More fish seats here.
yes, this is like one of those. This is like a creepy date where your dad came with you. Like,
Well, I've got-
this
I've
is
got-
my son. He's
I've
really
got-
he's
I've got-
a doctor.
I've
Tell
got
them
two
about the
bookends.
gold medal at the Special Olympics.
yeah, you stole that.
I've got two bookends here.
Yeah. We were a little quirky in the wine business, so we did the King of Tonga's coronation, and then usually our first market in the wine business was Asia, so Taiwan and Hong
China.
Kong, China.
Who does
So
that?
What he was
We
saying.
we like to do things backwards at Dairy and Wine.
So
That's
most,
it.
people,
I mean-
most people start in California, expand in California, maybe hit Texas because that's a great wine consumer market.
Yeah.
Then go to New York and then try, not get into Asia, but try to get into Asia. They started Asia, then New York, and worked their
That's
way.
No,
Tonga,
the
Asia.
first
Tonga, Asia.
wine tasting I ever did in Hong Kong at the Hong Kong Golf Club. I went in. I was with my father-in-law. You know, I thought we'll sell 25 to 40 cases of wine, maybe. At best case scenario. Well, we sold out really of our first vintage.
Wow.
So, 300 plus cases. of
Wow.
wine.
Nice.
What a
was-
successful
was
business trip that
and
was.
Then, and then it was a wonderful crowd.
Nice.
They, I love pouring wine over there. They really appreciate it. They love wine. They love food.
They got
So
money
it's
in
all
this
about
state.
entertaining. It's
Everything's
all
from-
about
Relationships.
relationships. So,
Wow.
doing wine over there is always a pleasure. I think you hear the horror stories, but
Oh yeah.
it's relationships
Nice.
like anything else.
Wow. Well, congratulations on doing a great job and doing it right, and maintaining the integrity and quality of the wine, and it does show, and it makes it easy for us because we just pour to the consumer. They gotta either love it or hate it. It's gonna be real, and I'll tell you what, amazing. They taste the wine side by side, and they're loving what they see.
Well, no,
So
and that's
it's
why
a
I actually
good
love being
start.
in Cellars of Sonoma.
Yes,
is
that's
that
what I
we
was
have
about to say.
we have that opportunity to actually pour along with our neighbors. I mean, we're all, like I said, all in this together.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, no one's cornered the market.
different wines for different palates.
Yep.
Like you
absolutely.
said, your wife is going to drink the Pinot, and you're going to drink the Zen.
No.
When we do tastings, that's always the case of
Yeah.
who likes what. And
Yeah.
I just go, okay.
Well, you've done a great job, and it shows.
And we're excited to be in Cellars of
Well,
Sonoma.
good. We're
so
glad
thank
that
you
you're
for
here.
having me.
Yeah,
So
Glad that you're here.
win-win.
We'll
We're
have them
for
come
it.
in again and
Thank
taste
you.
along with us.
Excellent stuff. Nice.
So I want to thank my bloggers for tuning in, and you guys are tasting right along with us. We'll see what your reaction is to the wines. I think they'll be pretty damn happy with that. They should be. But tell us what you really think. I mean, we'll send someone out to beat you up if you. No, say.
Wait,
tell
we
us
have
what-
that?
Yeah, we
Billy,
have
I
all
like
that.
that. Wow, I didn't know it
We
came
got
with
the
its own
mouth.
Hitman.
Oh yeah, we're gonna hit man. We got everything.
Yay.
So treat us
Yeah.
good.
Thank
So
you.
come this weekend, And also, don't forget about Lobster Lunch. That's coming up in August on the 9th. So don't forget about that event. It's going to be very, very fun. And I want to thank our guests for coming up here and hanging out with us and
Yes,
drinking wine,
thank you, guys.
and Al
And Al.
for yeah,
Thank you guys. All right.
yeah, give
Our
Al a
guest
hand.
and
He's a-
Al.
Hey,
and,
Shakespeare,
and-
give me a Shakespeare thing.
yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, he's in a Shakespeare play. We'll have him come in and he'll do some Shakespeare with
What's
wine.
that in the road? A head?
Is it instead of a skull,
that
you
what-
can have a bottle of wine?
Yeah.
Why have you forsaken me?
And we got Hans here that I don't know how he got in.
Well,
how did you run in here?
You didn't ask Blair what I
Heads
do
is
for the
he's great. I love this guy.
Hans Dibble is our eye candy.
Oh.
Oh yes,
He's dairy
and
wine
he's got
eye
yeah,
candy.
funny.
he's got
It
giant.
used to be the king of Tonga. He died, so I got the
But you can dress up like the king. Wow.
Oh
You betcha.
man.
You can't
Wow.
That gets more
see,
expensive.
you can't see his feet right now. He's wearing some kind of giant
Yeah.
Crocs and half
Oh,
socks.
Rocks on there.
But they're Giants colors, so we
That is a
accept
beautiful
that.
Yes.
I know you
Yeah.
like that.
Oh.
He needs a new pair.
This is way out of control. We lost control a long time ago. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is
Thank you.
where you discover wine one sip at a time here at Cellars of Sonoma. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week with some wine deals. Here we
Yay.
go.
That-